Today, we're here to break down one of Black cinema's most popular love stories from the year 2000, Love and Basketball, which tells the story of Monica and Quincy, two childhood friends who both aspire to be professional basketball players. Over the years, Monica, played by Sanaa Lathan, and Quincy, played by Omar Epps, begin to fall for each other, but basketball took them on separate paths and it threatened to pull them apart.
When Love and Basketball was released back in 2000, it became a fan favorite. But taking a closer look 24 years later, was the love depicted in this film a healthy love? We'll answer this question and more. In this video, we'll be focusing on Quincy and Monica's time in college at USC and how it tests their relationship.
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
A lot of you requested that we cover this film, and I can't wait for us to talk about it. But first, we want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App or click the thanks button on this video, or you can head on over to patreon.com/Axiom Amnesia or become a channel member by clicking the join button to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber.
The whole time I'm hanging on his every word like he's God or something.
Quincy and Monica sitting on some bleachers, talking, and he's talking about how his daddy looked him in the eye and lied to him like it was nothing.
Man looked me in my eye and he lied to me like it was nothing.
I don't know if he did necessarily lie to him, because I still don't know what the paternity is, right? He said it's not true. I don't know if the question was about the paternity or whether or not he was cheating. Right, so that's a little shaky, but it don't matter because the character feels like his daddy lied to him anyway.
Well, he did lie to him, and it's the lie of misdirection and omission, right? So even though what he said technically could be true, if you know that the person, if you know that your words are meant to misdirect and persuade a person to believe something that likely or might not be true, he wanted to conceal that he was having the affair, and he downplayed his relationship with this woman. But you brought up a good point. Is it this woman or is it that woman? Or is it, which one of his women are the one, is the possible baby mama?
Yeah, I see the conversation was about, this woman is claiming paternity, right? Has the paternity suit and claiming that I'm her baby's daddy. Is it true? It's not true. Right. And he said, hey, she used to hang around these parties and stuff. I guess you could call it omission.
What I'm saying is that he said it to Quincy because he wanted to disclose and not disclose at the same time. Right. I want to give you a little bit, but I don't really want to tell you what the deal is. He knows the concern is like, is this even a possibility? Is this true? He knows Quincy is interpreting it as there's no possibility that this could be true. Because really, if you've been sleeping with the woman and you saying it's not true, then how would you know? You ain't had a paternity test. You don't know. The jury is still out. So the only way you would know for sure is if you didn't do it, if you didn't have sex with her. And if you didn't have sex with her, you can confidently say that it's not true. His daddy was just saying that, hoping he could get out of this mess, right?
Yeah, that's possible.
So Quincy also says, I know some guys dog their wives, but I never
know some guys dog their wives.
Never thought that my pop would do something like that.
I never thought my pop would do something like that.
So his impression of his father seems to be quite different than who his father really is. The question that comes up is Quincy a liar? And it would seem, now some people, do a lot of virtue signaling and everything like that. But is Quincy a liar? Because I think Quincy was trying to live up to the ideals of who he thought his father was. So his father's always like, look a man in the eye and whatever, he brings that up, right?
Always look a man in the eye.
So I feel like this is also telling us and informing us about who Quincy's character is. Quincy is not like a liar. And I don't think that Quincy is somebody who's intentionally trying to dog folks out. This is important because of his relationship with Monica. But in this situation, Monica's like looking at her watch and everything because it's getting late. And she has an 11 o'clock curfew.
Why don't we walk to my dorm?
Quincy wants her to stay there and talk with him.
I don't feel like running into anybody. Let's just kick it here.
And she's like, I gotta go. If I miss curfew, I don't get to play.
If I'm late, I don't suit up.
And he interprets her not staying as abandonment, clearly.
I mean, I can stay a few more minutes.
I'm sweating.
And he's like, nah, I should be alone right now. You know, he's sulking. He's being very immature about it.
I'm sorry.
For real. I should be alone.
And Quincy, you know, just really doesn't know how to express his needs. In
Yeah,
this
he was like,
moment.
I don't feel like running into anybody. I'm like, what? Why not? But he didn't even walk. He didn't walk her back.
Because the story was public. I'm presuming the reason he didn't want to run into people is because his daddy was telling him this because the story is public. So it's like, I want you to hear it from me, even if it ain't the whole truth, right? I want you to hear it from me. I'm preparing you because people talking about me in them streets. I think that's why he doesn't want to run into people, because it's embarrassing and he's not in a good mood. Or it could be maybe he's just not in a good mood, right? And he's supposed to be on and nice and, hey, friendly. Yeah, we're going to win the game, you know, right?
Yeah, but either way, he got to walk to his dorm too. So whatever, it's just excuses. But she's like finally getting her chance, and he's mad now that she's getting her chance, really. And she don't want to mess it up. She got to work harder and all that other stuff, right? But I think it's just movie stuff. They needed a reason for them to break up or to go through problems, because that's one of those typical stories that happen. Oh, they know each other, they love each other, and they break up, and then they got to get back together at some point later in the movie. And I don't know if the reason really taints Quincy's character a lot is really what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes him look very bad. Even though you can't just chalk it up to, oh, he's in this emotional point in his life.
Especially in 2024. Like, he didn't look as bad in 2000 when the movie came out as he does today. That people interpret what he's doing here and what we're going to see soon as toxicity. Not just that, but like he actually dogged her out. That's how it's interpreted.
So then we see the two playing basketball, more footage of that. And Quincy, you know, his head's not in the game because of what's going on with his daddy, I presume, right? So he's really messing up. And your girl, Monica, she's really shining, right? So the tables have turned.
No shot! Offensive foul!
It's just looking very bad for Quincy, and I think his daddy finally got what he wanted, and there was no chance of Quincy going to the NBA. So Zeke actually cheating and having a kid is providing a way for Quincy getting what's best for him.
And I mean, Quincy is really, really distracted, and I'm like, look who's emotional now, you know? And because when you look back at it, really, Quincy didn't have no real challenges his whole life. You know, he was just on the easy, as they talk about how, you know, his player game setting was just on easy.
He was lucky.
He was lucky and it was easy. But look who he is when he's put under that pressure. And then compare that to Monica, who's had the pressure the whole time. Monica's had pressure her whole life dealing with things. He hasn't. And now it's affecting his game. But Monica, I would argue in this case, is like, now she's really got her mojo together, and she is, you know, that black girl magic, because she's figured out how to not let the pressure get to her or bother her too much.
Yeah.
And she can play well. And she's applied herself.
I just think it was so funny that after the game, when Quincy went to sit down, everybody else stood up. They didn't want to sit by him.
And then at the end of Monica's game, right, they wound up that, hey, for the first time, there's the foul and it's not on Monica.
Bruh.
No shot! Offensive foul!
You know, but the ladies won their game and the men lost.
Yep. And then
You
they're
know?
celebrating in the locker room afterwards. And then one of the, you know, she's like, sees that T is down, like, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? And she's like, oh, I'll never have this again because I'm going to play overseas next year, you know? And everybody's like, what? I thought you liked that. And then she's thinking about all the things of that's not going to be the same.
It's never gonna be like this. Playing in front of my family, hanging out with my homegirls.
Right? Because for the men, you go to the NBA, you got this stardom, you're elevated.
Yeah.
And then somehow after this, it's all the glitz and glam is gone.
Yeah. And for the women, you go someplace else. Your family's not going to be at the games. You know, it just is like you quietly go off and maybe be able to have a career somewhere else. And
It's still like that.
Well, and I was just going to bring up Brittany Griner, right? The whole reason that she was over in Russia to get detained in the first place was because they have to have a side job and go off season to other countries and play, because the money that they make is not enough for what they're trying to do. And yeah,
and if we know, like, it was 2003 when LSU won that, so right, the women basketball, then you had the draft, and Alexis Morris, who was on the team, wasn't drafted, and they had this whole little thing online because she kind of said some things that she shouldn't have in those emotions, right? Because there isn't as many opportunities for the women, right? And yeah, because she was basically talking like, these old heads need to retire so us new ones can actually get a spot in the WNBA. But yeah, she kind of landed at the Harlem Globetrotters just recently, so
yeah, it's tough though.
yeah,
It is tough. And even when you look at because we watch LSU a lot, but even when we look at the LSU college, women's basketball, you think about what will be the careers later. And this is all the more reason why it's so important, I think, that college athletes are able to make money. The college is making money. Why shouldn't they? And I mean, you look at somebody like Angel Reese, at least she's a millionaire now.
yeah.
At least she has some type of options. She wouldn't be in a situation like, Quincy's daddy, where you got to go and maybe work a job that's not what you want, or even like this, player who's going to go off to another country to play.
Yeah. So it makes me think of Caitlin Clark was offered $5 million to play in Big Three, which is partially owned by Ice Cube, all the foolishness he been doing and talking about lately, right? But why Angel Reese didn't get offered that from the Big Three? And it's a deal where, Caitlin Clark can play in the WNBA and, the Big Three, but we'll see.
COVID kind of affected eligibility and stuff.
We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's just kind of what I think of. So, if they could start doing things like that too, then the Big Three can compete. And that's just all I thought of when we talk about women's basketball.
Yeah.
Monica is called into the coach's office, and she's very worried and stuff.
Monica.
And then I had to look it up, and Sanaa Lathan is only 5'7". She's very short. Well, I guess that's not very short.
It's on the short end for a basketball player.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. But the coach just basically tells her, yeah, I'm starting you next week.
I'm starting you at point again.
Monica is worried kind of because of off-court politics, right? And she's like, I thought that Sidra ankle was better,
I thought Sidra's ankle was okay for next game.
The coach is like, I don't care.
You want the job or not?
You better than her, basically. Because that's what happens. If you're playing better, or if the coach thinks that it's better for, their chances of winning and stuff, then they're going to keep things the way they are. Keep this player in this position.
Well, yeah, and coaches are judged off their stats, they got to win games.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to cause problems, and she's worried about that when she should just be worried about, at least I got this opportunity.
It just seems like you're always riding me.
Yeah. And so, she's like, but coach, you're always riding me, blah, 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 and the coach is like, look, worry about when I ignore you.
When I ignore you, then you're worried.
Because I'm not going to go crazy over you, over somebody with no potential.
You think I go horse for a player with no potential?
So the coach is saying that she's riding her because she knew she had potential.
You know what's crazy? So I went to Marine Corps boot camp.
Yeah.
And one thing they say is that you try not to have the drill instructors know your name or just even be aware that you exist. And it's much easier for you that way. It's kind of the opposite sort of a thing, right?
Did the drill instructor know your name?
Bruh, very early. They knew me, and yeah.
Oh, that's kind of funny to me.
So they're at a party, and Monica's there. She having a good time dancing and stuff. It seemed like she's in the in crowd now, as opposed to what it was like in stark contrast to what it was like in high school. And then, we're coming from the scene where it's like the coach is, when I ignore you, then you worry. And then Quincy comes in, he basically ignores her. It has been ignoring her. It is revealed to us.
I came by your crib. Jerry said you'd be here.
Yep. And so she should be worried worried about the relationship because it's clearly not taking a turn.
Sorry about your game.
It happens, right?
he didn't go to her game, right? You just pointed that out. But now he's mad because she's not paying attention to him, 100% and stuff like that.
We went to celebrate after, right? But I came right after that.
And he's in his sulky mood. He's down. Things are not good for him right now. And he doesn't have her there, pandering to him either.
Yeah, and I guess he's drinking a beer or whatever, but her teammate is just like, yeah, you didn't hear she got the starting spot, right?
You hear about your girl? She won the starting spot.
And he's like, where's the keg? Because I don't care about none of that. I just want to drink some beer.
Let me just drink some more, even.
What in the world?
Hey, where the keg at?
So we see underage drinking and, all of this stuff. But Quincy is just very sour. Very sour. And being very immature.
I think he dogged her.
Shut up. I mean, because
did.
the question is, was this dogging? Do you think this was dogging?
I think it was.
Okay, then.
The biggest moment in her life, right, at this point, getting a starting spot at USC, you know what I'm saying? And he just like, when he finds out, he's just like, where's the keg? And walks away.
Well, he definitely let her down for sure. He definitely let her down. And it was very unfair and was very immature for sure. So then if the night wasn't bad enough, Monica runs into Sidra. And Sidra is like, oh, good game.
What's up? Just wanted to say good game.
She's like, basically waiting for her to say something negative. And she doesn't say something negative about her playing. But she's like, yeah, one word of advice, though, for next season. She say, what's that?
Just one word of advice for next season.
What's that?
She said, never let a freshman take your spot.
Never let a freshman take your spot.
Yeah.
And then, suddenly we are supposed to feel really bad for Sidra in this moment.
So I think this is a very important scene because of all that we talked about with, women's potential and, outlooks of the future, right? They just talked about it with talking about playing overseas and all that. This is her senior year. She don't get to play and some freshman come and then take her spot. And, the character could just be like, hey, yeah, I would rather let her, this other person have a greater outlook or prospects for the future. But she doesn't, and we don't really feel bad for her because of the way that she treated Monica before that, right? That's why, one of the reasons, that people feel that you should treat people better.
Well, and the other part, I say the flip side of it is people who go through hazing oftentimes are like, okay, I paid my pound of flesh. I need to, treat other people the way I got treated. They don't want to see people treated better than them. And I see this across the board, not just in these types of situations, but it could be your kids. Oh, I had to get out at 17. So should you.
Right.
I had to do this. So should you.
The minimum wage, discussion is, well, I got paid this much, or if they get paid a living wage, then they're gonna be making as much as me, and they shouldn't be allowed a living wage
because you don't know what it took for me to get here. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with things being easier on other people.
Yeah. But it's definitely going to be harder on Sidra now.
Well, and how is she even going to be ready for her ankle to play in the next game when she's hobbling at the party?
She's still on crutches.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway,
that's possibly playing overseas or in the WNBA or whatever. It probably ain't gonna happen if this is how you ending your senior year. And it could be that hopefully some team just sees it and they willing to take a chance. But them injuries, boy, they could really do a number on you.
Well, and I guess it couldn't have been too severe, right? Because it's maybe like a sprained ankle or something.
That's what you want them to think.
Well, if she was going to be able to return that quickly, then,
People play hurt all the time.
This is true.
Yeah. Monica looks over and Quincy is hollering at another girl.
Monica Calhoun from The Best Man and other movies.
And so Monica walks over and then, Monica Calhoun, Cheri, walks away.
I see you.
And, she's like, hey, who is that? Right? So
Who was that?
Nobody.
now there is some legitimacy to Monica's jealousy, right? But it's done changed, right? Because before, oh, you're just being jealous for no reason, and now it's like, wait, he over here hollering at this chick.
But she walks away, and then he starts kissing on her and stuff like that.
You want to go talk?
Not really.
And she's kissing him back and everything. He's all aggressive with the kissing. Of course, he's been drinking, and she stops the kissing.
You
She's like, "You drunk or whatever?"
drunk.
Before that, he was saying, you ready to go. So he's still expecting to leave with her. He wants some. That's what's made clear in this scene. And so then after that, he's like, well, nah, I'm gonna just head on back or whatever.
You know what? I'm gonna go crash.
And then she's like, well, I might stop by later. And he's
Maybe I'll come by later.
like, nah, I got curfew.
Nah, I got curfew.
He acting like a little bitch.
Yeah, he is. He acting up real ugly.
What are you doing here?
When Quincy get back to his room, his daddy is just sitting up in there
Talking
waiting
about,
on him.
I messed up, but I ain't the kid's father.
I messed up, okay? I know that. But I ain't that kid's father.
Nah, that's crazy. But then he's just like on Quincy, oh, you think you better than me?
You so perfect you can look down on me?
And then Quincy's like, I'm not a liar, right after he just lied to Monica
I'm not a lie.
a couple times. But then, Zeke is just like, yo, I lied to you because I love you. Basically, like Yvette on Baby Boy.
I'm sorry I lied to you and I shouldn't have.
Like, yeah, like like Jody telling Yvette, I lie to you because I love you.
Yeah, but it was self-serving because he said, I did it because I didn't want to see that look, that you have right now, basically.
But I only did it because I didn't want to see that look on your face that you got right now.
So for his own self, right, I don't want to see you look like this. But it could also mean, kind of be representative of him feeling that way, and that's why he looks that way. But to put it that way makes it center on the self. I didn't want to see you look like this.
And then his daddy is like, your mother was 19 when she got pregnant with you.
No, she was 19 when she got pregnant.
And she knew I wasn't ready for a kid. And we just got to unpack this
Well,
right
he
now.
said marriage, right?
But she knew I wasn't ready for no marriage.
Well, I took it as marriage and a kid. Like, she knew I wasn't ready to do all of this at that age. That was how I took it.
Because then if you get pregnant, there's definitely marriage happening.
Yeah. With or without a shotgun. He's like, well, you trying to say my mama trapped you?
You trying to say my mother trapped you?
I'm saying I handled my responsibilities like a man.
And we got to have this conversation because to me, it could have been two irresponsible youth, if you will, younger people, teenagers or whatever. But it also could be that she was like, I want this man. I love this man. Like, we don't really have a good idea, but we have some potential suspicions that we really got into in the first part after some of their interactions that we saw. But I don't know. Do you think that the mother trapped him? Do you view that as trapping?
From what I know, possibly, yeah, she trapped him. Let's just say that. I think it just makes the movie better if that's the dynamics that's happening here behind the scenes, especially when you're trying to save your son from this and be like, oh, this actually happened. Plus, on top of that, he fell for the trappings of even more women.
Yeah.
But he tried to make it all sympathetic too.
There's 100 girls waiting down in that lobby. Listen to me.
There's 100 women who just waiting for you.
And the boldest one is right there at your front door.
Oh, man.
Yeah, in the lobby,
And after a while, man, it just becomes part of the game.
back to the idea of this whole trapping thing. One view could be that like, oh, well, it was consensual and there's no, and basically if he decided to go in raw kind of thing, right? And he's responsible no matter what. But I push back on that notion in certain circumstances. And one of them would be that if you're calculating, all right, risk, you're just like, all right, well, she doesn't want it and I don't want it. But if it happens, well, we both knew we took the risk. Versus if you got one person who's presented their intentions as one thing, I'm not trying to be out here and get knocked up, and they really are, right? Then the woman has more information. Like, she knows when she's ovulating, or at least are more likely to know that than the man. And if she's trying to, quote, trap him, then, the calculation is different. as far as what the actual risk is. And the thing that makes a trap is the intention of that person, right? It's hiding your intentions. To me, that's the part that makes it a trap, not the fact that she got pregnant at 19. That could happen to anybody. The trap is that she may have portrayed it like, well, I'm not trying, when she really was. Maybe, that's the trap, right? And it can go in the reverse. We're not just saying, because I know for a fact that men are not the only ones who get trapped. Women can get trapped too. And I know that it has happened before. So all of that being said, he's like, I'm going to drop out of school and turn pro.
I figured that I'd tell you I decided to drop out of school and turn pro.
Boom. He just put that trump card out on his daddy right in the middle of the conversation.
Bruh.
Just like Malik in higher learning has decided he's dropping out. Omar Epps, if he's in college, he's going to threaten to drop out in every movie.
After this last game we just saw with him, we know what your future is going to be, bro.
But at the end, he's just like, you see him crying like, he's like in a bad, he needs some therapy.
Yeah.
He needs to go talk to somebody and learn how to deal with a little bit of adversity, which he clearly has not had to deal with thus far.
Yep. But then, they just had us go back and forth. And the daddy's like, I can't let you do that.
I know you're mad at me, okay? But I cannot let you do this.
And then Quincy is like, a thought shouldn't be in a man's vocabulary, or whatever the quote is.
I always thought can't wasn't in the man's vocabulary.
Because he was still following his daddy down, right? His daddy, do as I say, not as I do.
Programmed him,
right?
yeah.
He programmed him good. And, basically his daddy just walk away and he shoulder checks him on the way out.
Yeah, he was being real disrespectful and understandably mad given the circumstance.
Where's your boy?
I ain't back.
So then Monica is going to, check on Q like she always does. And so she comes into his little suite, his dorm suite or whatever, and she sees his friends and they're playing a real old-fashioned video game. I don't remember video games looking like that. And she's like, yeah, where your boy at? And so she goes to his room and he's there smiling and, hey, baby, what's going on? And they kiss and everything. And
Hey, babe.
then he puts his shirt on and whatever. And they're like, oh, Q, you got somebody at the door for you. And who's at the door but Carrie, Monica Calhoun?
What's up, man?
Hi.
Yeah. And he introduced the side chick to his main and stuff.
Oh, Monica, this is Carrie. Carrie, this is Monica.
And then he's just like, yeah, we about to go get some food. You want to come?
What's going on?
Just about to go get some food. You want to come?
What in the world?
I said, what is he about to just have? He trying to have a trio? I mean, what?
Yeah.
What?
But, Carrie ain't no good because, she stayed, right?
Maybe I should come back.
No, you stay.
Yeah.
When Monica's just like, nah, I'm about to go. But,
I'll leave.
Carrie's like, maybe I should just go. No, she's like, no, you stay. I'm going to go. But I think that Quincy should have got trapped right here. This should have been just his lesson.
Yeah, why you in her face and you in my face at the same time? You real disrespectful. Like they should, but see, this is the thirst, right? This is the thirst of, let me get the opportunity with the big guy on campus, right? Let me get the opportunity to be the girl on the arm. Not from Monica's standpoint, but I'm talking about Carrie.
Monica Calhoun.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I want my chance, right? And she's looking at, everybody knows that Monica is Quincy's girlfriend. Everybody on that campus knows that at this point. And even when you coming at him like this, you know that. See, and so we talk about side chick culture and everything too. And, clearly that's the type of chick that Carrie is.
Hey, she like, I'm going to trap him. Don't worry.
And hey, so then he's looking like feeling justified. And really, this whole thing was premeditated. He didn't know Monica was coming. But he knew that eventually Monica would find out or in an awkward situation, and he just didn't care.
Yeah, none of this makes sense. Like, why is he doing this?
And this wasn't even his character. This was not his character prior to this. Show me where prior to what happened with his father, up to that point where he was just a straight out dog.
Yeah. and then to basically, oh, I have this problem with my daddy, so my woman, I'm just gonna treat bad
Yeah. And so
intentionally.
the only thing I could conclude here is that the father, based on what the movie is telling me, it's really the father's fault that he's acting like he's acting. Because now he's a liar. Now he's a cheat. Now he's just disrespectful to somebody's face.
Yeah.
Justifying it. He's become everything his father was. But that isn't even who I feel like he is or had been up to this point. That wasn't who he was. He just flipped the script overnight and now you this. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Do people actually do that in real life? I mean, I'm talking about like they actually were good. Not do they show you their colors at one time. But they were a decent person and then boom, one thing happens and now I'm just an ass. No, I don't think so. This might be where I feel like the movie fell down a little bit. It was a little extreme.
What are you doing here? Didn't know I needed a reason to come home.
Monica has to go home. Things, so bad. She's all flustered and stuff. And her mama sees that something is wrong.
Is everything okay? Yeah.
But her mama can't tell that it's love life that's wrong, right? Because she has the same attitude that she has when she loses a game. And the mama basically says that.
Every time you lose, you get this attitude, but it is just a game.
And then, because she was overreacting to the game. So now,
When it's something legitimate, you done cried wolf.
Yeah. And then the mama just like, yeah, I'm going to school. It's just a game. I'm going to the store. Bye.
Yep. And she's basically like, oh, you just up to your same old tricks.
Daddy Key? Yeah.
So when Monica gets back to school, who's in front of her dorm?
Can we talk?
Talking about, can we talk? And she like, talk to your new girlfriend.
Talk to your new girlfriend.
I thought that Quincy would be there and was going to be like, okay, really, really, let's just get back together and be together.
What is the point of even being over there, bro? So he showed up at the dorm and, he's like waiting outside for her to come. And then she shows up. And then they talk about what happened, whatever.
So you messed around to prove a point?
What'd I just say?
And Quincy's stance is, at least she had time for me.
Right.
What he talking about? Cheri, the side chick.
Yeah.
Cheap date.
She had time for me.
And she's like, you're asking me to choose now
I had curfew. What was I supposed to do?
Stay.
between basketball and you.
If I stayed, I wouldn't be starting.
I never asked you to choose. And he's like, you never had to.
Never asked you to choose.
You never have to.
Maybe because it was just so easy for him.
But I think that was a dig too, right? It wasn't that you didn't have basketball to begin with until now, right? This is the only
Shut
time.
up. I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, but then he's like, if basketball is all you care about, why are you boning me?
If basketball is all you care about, why are you boning me?
So then reduce it down to boning me and then trying to be all noble and stuff like he has a cause other than basketball when that's all he's ever talked about. And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to be together, I have to be able to trust you.
Well, he broke up with her. Basically, he's like, I'm not asking for us to be together.
I'm not asking for us to be together.
And she's trying to tell him, like, we can fix this,
But
and
that's
he's
not
like, I
all.
don't think so.
I mean, whatever I did, we can fix this.
I don't think so.
She reduced herself to whatever I did, we can fix this. So now he successfully put the blame on her. She accepted it.
I'm going through a lot of shit right now. It's obviously more than you got time for.
And now she's basically begging to be with the guy who dogged her, to try to make a point. As she said, she said, oh, you done all this to make a point. And yeah, that's what happened. Like he done this to make a point. And now she is like, come on, we can work this out and stuff.
I have to concede at this point in the film that I would agree that this is definitely dogging. When you go there, you cheat to prove the point.
No, you got your head so far up your ass, it took a cheap day for you to notice me.
And then you stand on this fake nobility. And then on top of everything else, you continue to be like, oh, I'm going through so much. And it's just so much.
Did I forget to kiss your ass like everybody else?
You forgot to be there.
He is the emotional hothead, actually. He just had never been put to the test because you see
Like
how
he
he
said.
behaves.
Yeah. But then he just breaks it to her. Yeah, I'm entering the draft.
Look, I'm entering a draft.
What?
I'm going pro.
And I've decided this. I just ain't tell you.
And she like, well, when you decide this, he like a few days ago, blah, blah, blah.
When did you decide all this?
A few days ago.
She's like, well, so just forget about you and me.
Just forget about you and me?
He like, well, I'd still like us to be friends.
I still like us to be friends.
Friends.
Man, if she had to just start drilling on him in the face right there,
Bruh.
I wouldn't have even been mad.
What in the
moment.
world? Domestic
I'm
violence.
I'm gonna just be honest with you because it was foul, right? This whole scene is foul. This is not how you treat somebody.
But why he showed up there to antagonize her, basically. It's what he done.
Okay, so here's what I think. I think he did show up to try to get her back, but
she didn't
his
fall in line.
attitude, exactly.
How do I know the next time you're feeling neglected?
His attitude changed when her response was, well, how do I know that you're going to act right?
You're not going to just run around on me.
Then his comeback was, oh, I'm not asking us to be together. Yes, you were. That's why you sat your behind right in front of that dorm for 5 hours or whatever the heck it was, waiting for her to come back. Because you did want that, but you pivoted in the moment. That's what happened.
And then his pride just made him walk away.
His pride not only made him walk away, but then just throw every possible dagger that he could throw in the moment. Like, you really cut up, Quincy. You really did.
Yep.
But see, she probably, he lashed out when he was losing before. See, the other thing that we have that's been wonderful that the mother pointed out is, how do people act when they losing and how do they act when they're winning? See, we saw Quincy winning most of this movie thus far. He has been winning. We never see his personality challenged by a loss, except when she beat his butt the first time they played when they were 11 years old and he pushed her in the grass and gave her the lifelong scar.
Yeah.
You know, he been up the whole time.
Yep.
And how does she rise to the occasion when she's winning? She still is a much better person than he is when he's winning and when he's losing. Because she didn't do those things to him when she was losing.
Well, I guess that's, painting the picture of, when you're in the privileged position versus when you're not in the privileged position and how you react to adversity and,
True.
Those sort of things. But I don't think this relationship is toxic. I think it's kind of run of the mill. Like, even what we saw from him, how he treated her, that was a lot of shade, and him just bringing the side chick around just the way he did is bad. But, that's whatever.
It's shade and it's immaturity and it's definitely hurt feelings and things of that nature. Nowhere near on the level of what his daddy did.
Bruh.
His daddy has done brought another child into, you know what I mean? You done expanded the family and cheated and did some craziness like that. Now, what I'll also say is I'm going to ask a really hard question in this moment to the audience and maybe to us too. But in real life, is what happened here unsurvivable? I'm not talking about and not just unsurvivable, but like, what if somebody you love does this? What if somebody you love does a thing to you that feels effing unforgivable in the moment? And not just romantic love. It could be any kind of love, right? Somebody who's your close friend and then they did something to you that you just feel like, dang, I would never do that. Also, keep in mind that Monica and Quincy are not who they will become as mature adults. These are still, I'm trying to figure out how to be an adult.
Yeah.
Challenged by life's challenges.
I kind of think this is the reason why a lot of people just think, oh, the movie is toxic, right? Or the whatever love affair relationship here is toxic, is because, oh, this isn't survivable. When to me, it's just, okay, for these couple days, he acted like a fool, basically. And yeah, that's just the crux of it. That is the problem in the relationship. A teenage boy dealing with something he never dealt with before and acting out like a complete fool. Right. And then what we get later in the movie is them as grown adults, basically, and how they live that way.
Yeah. So I'm not making excuses. Whatever individuals' decisions are on this are their individual decisions. When I look at this and I take into account that they are 19 years old, does it mean you should put up with somebody's crap? Does it not mean that? That's the individual decision. But what I would say is, if we throw people away every single time, and this is a lifelong friendship. This ain't no boy she met just that semester. This is a lifelong friendship, really, that they've had. They've been, friends almost as long as they've been alive. do you throw the friendship away? Is there a friendship? Does this basically just bad judgment, momentary display of, and I call it momentary in the context of the length of their friendship. Should everything be thrown away for this? And the other question is, how do you move past? How do you forgive? You know, I think on some level, when it's romantic love, you always kind of have that like ability to use the romance as a means of like quickly forgetting, you know?
Then that's kind of what they showed them doing every time they would, you know, get into the sexual thing or start making out and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then later on, you know, you can't do that. But the thing is, they were actually friends first, even though they tried to be boyfriend, girlfriend in the beginning. They didn't know what that meant.
Right.
And they were just friends, right? So they still have a friendship. And, you know, for this thing to just be like, oh, it's over, it's toxic at this point, it's just kind of crazy. And it does make sense that people would get extremely mad, but then in times of clarity to think that this is appropriate response to such adversity is just wild.
Yeah.
And it just shows a level of fragility, right?
Because, I mean, it just was unacceptable.
I'm so fragile that if any one thing doesn't go my way, then I throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I throw a tantrum, basically, is what it is when you just like, oh my God, they said this, they done this, don't ever talk to me again. It's a juvenile tantrum.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, I get, because this is a heartbreak, right? This is a heartbreak in this moment for, she's like, just forget about us. This is a heartbreak. And how could we ever be friends after the depth of their relationship to this point? You know what I'm saying? Even though, let's just say it lasted a year, you know, but I don't know. They went to the spring dance. So that's in the spring. And then they go to college. So like they lasted a few months. They didn't even last a year, right? They lasted, I don't know, let's just say April to it ain't even December.
Yeah. And back in those days, if we talk about eligibility, what is you talk about you meeting with people and you joining the draft and stuff at this moment? I don't know where we're at in the season, but I don't know. It don't sound right.
Yeah.
But do you think their parents knew that they were together?
Oh.
You know, because if they're always hanging out and always been friends, then is it really just, do you really just make this announcement? Maybe he seemed to be pretty close with his daddy, at least. So maybe he told his daddy.
They were like, they finally got together, you know.
Yeah. But the parents never mentioned him. That's weird. Like, they should have added that little element
Well,
in there.
because when she saw something was wrong, if she really knew that their relationship was tight, like that, the mother, wouldn't the mother have said, is something wrong with you and Quincy?
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe they didn't know.
You know, so they might not have really all the way known. But I think the daddy would have known. But that don't mean the daddy talks to the mama and daddy of Monica, you know. Quincy's daddy knew, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But there are just a lot of challenging things. I think this is the thing it challenges people to do is ask themselves, like, okay, what does forgiveness require?
Well,
what does, you know, all of that stuff.
Back then, but now people just watch it and they don't ask themselves anything. They just say it's over and it's the worst thing ever. Right?
And that she's a pick-me.
Yeah.
You know, because think about it, how they both responded wasn't mature. Like, as a mature woman, you don't just break down and go, okay, well, whatever I can do, just anything, please, baby, please. You know, no,
Please,
no,
baby, please.
that's not the answer there. Because that's not how, you know, how it should work in order to get where you're trying to go and have it be a stable. And clearly that was where she was trying to go, to have a stable relationship, right? Okay, well, whatever it is. But then when he threatens to take the relationship away, then she's just breaks down. Hey, whatever you want to do, I'm gonna do it, you know? And so she's behaving in this moment, as they call him, like a pick me, I'll do anything. But the problem is, I think that when you love a person, not just romantically, there is that kind of feeling, but on some level.
A pick me isn't like of somebody who you're actually with and who you weren't a pick me with to get with, right? That's I think that's totally different. And it's talk about your overall character. She wasn't doing this to every man, right? And they were already together, and now she's like, I still want to be with a person I've been with. If people can understand not wanting to continue a relationship with someone they've been with, then I don't even know.
So you mean
what
if
to
people
say to
can
them.
understand that why she would want to keep going?
No,
that's what
just
you mean,
that
or?
people who have been in if you know someone and to want to continue a relationship and to call that something negative, I just think that's just natural, and not this negative thing needs to be attached to that, right? Because it's somebody she was in a relationship with. Hey, I still want to be in a relationship with you. That's not pick me to me.
And I think she thought it was forever.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what he thought, but I think she was like, finally, these were my two big wins, getting into USC and finally having this relationship progress into an area that I really want. Even though being in the relationship messes with her ego and, you know, all that.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a lot to unpack with this movie for sure. You know, but that's how their time at USC went.
Do you think it's a bad movie?
No, I still don't think it's a bad movie.
I don't think it's a bad movie.
Now, I will say I had not watched this movie in a little bit, and I've watched it a million times. But for whatever reason, in my recollection and memory of the movie, and this might go to just show you how you feel about the characters can change what you remember about what they did in the film. I was a lot more incensed by Quincy's behavior watching this, paying very close attention right now, certainly than any of the times that I watched the movie years and years ago. But even like I've seen the movie within the last year or so, and I just, maybe I've seen the beginning more than I've seen this part. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just crazy. It's really what it is. He just acting like a little crazy boy.
Yeah. But, is there hope or is there not hope? Go to the comments and let us know. Would you have forgiven Quincy? Do you feel like this is something that could be worked through with your lifelong friendship? And even if you don't want to be romantic with Quincy after this, because he is saying he doesn't want to be with her. So it's not like she should be pushing up on him. What I'm saying is, if he were to come back at a future point, would you be willing to give Quincy a second chance as a boyfriend and a second chance as a friend? Presumably y'all probably didn't keep in that much contact after this, right?
Yeah, but if y'all happen to show up at Thanksgiving at your parents' houses and Quincy's parents hadn't broken up, then you're going to run into each other possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it just some movie we watched like that where the guy was across the street, the white guy across the street, and the black woman? What movie is? Oh, that's Origin. All right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if you made it this far, type friends in the comments so we know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end of our nice long breakdowns.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to check out this video that's on the screen right now.